the news, look in the papers. Police department's cut. Fire department's cut. What will you do when there's no one there?
The U.S. will fall deeper and deeper into debt. Banks will close. Power will go out. Basic services will grind to a halt.
If the grocery shelves are empty, you're only 9 meals away from anarchy.
Picture this. It's been 7 days since it hit the fan. Your family's just run out of food and water, which means you only have 2 choices. Head out and try to take some from someone else, or watch your family starve to death. As you sit huddled and injured on the living room floor, debating how to save your family's lives, food riots have swept through your hometown like the plague. Your wife and kids are starving right before your eyes, and looking to daddy to save them. You're starting to panic over the frequent gunshots and the looting mobs getting closer and closer. People's pantries are empty, and they're desperate. You pray the power will come back on, and truly believe that emergency workers are fixing the problem. With absolutely no light, no internet, no heat, and with no plan to survive the real-life Hunger Games scenario, you woke up to just 7 days ago. And if all of this sounds a bit alarmist, like a gory scene out of The Walking Dead, or if you think you won't be forced to start hunting cats and dogs just to feed your family, watch Venezuela. Because food shortages, looting, and economic collapse are coming to the new America. Food prices are already skyrocketing. A new report from FEMA warns of a 395% food price increase between 2020 and 2030, and our government is already prepping. What is the government preparing for? FEMA currently owns 6 enormous warehouses in various locations throughout the country, which hold $7 billion in supplies. They claim it's because supplies are limited due to the exploding population growth, rapid urbanization, severe weather events, and social unrest. And while this may sound comforting at first, FEMA isn't here to ensure our families are fed. They're here to help the government and the elite use food as a weapon for power. Hungry people will do anything for food, which means those who have control over the food can use it as leverage, and social unrest is guaranteed when pending food shortages begin, providing the much-needed excuse for martial law. On March 16, 2012, the National Defense Resources Preparedness Act was signed into order, granting the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Labor, the Department of Defense, and other agencies complete control of all U.S. resources, including the ability to seize and confiscate your stockpiles of food, water, and guns. The government is already preparing to use the food crisis for global takeover, and they do not care about who starves in the process. And even if the government doesn't come barreling through your doors tomorrow, and if you're honest with yourself, if it were to go down right now, chances are you're nowhere near prepared to cope with the utter devastation and desperation that's coming our way. That's why you must listen to this short public announcement, because in the next few moments, I'm going to share an ingenious new system to truly provide your family with the only real life insurance to truly save your asses when it happens. We all pay for car insurance, flood insurance, homeowners insurance, medical insurance, but stuff is replaceable. You and your family's lives are not. Yet 9 out of 10 people will ignore the one form of insurance that's designed to literally save the lives of you and your family. The only insurance must have is preparedness. Hopefully you'll never need it, but if you do, it will become the most valuable possession you'll ever own. Because as you already know, an apocalypse can come in any form. It's plastered all over the news, just waiting to strike. ISIS beheadings, terrorist bombings, political riots, race wars, North Korea's relentless nuclear missile launches, Russia's new Satan missile. Combine the threat of World War III with the new severe weather events becoming the new terrifying norm. The 100-year flood ravaged West Virginia, killing 23. Deadly floods in Texas killed 234 people, 9 of which were trained military members. Hurricane Matthew slamming Haiti, the Bahamas, and then the east coast of the United States, killing 27 in the United States alone. And these are just 3 of the major natural disasters to hit the United States in 2016. I haven't even brought up the tornadoes and winter storms that tore apart the Midwest and Northeast, or the massive earthquake in Rome, or the giant tsunamis wiping out the Philippines. And whether you believe climate change is a conspiracy created by China or not, I think we both can agree our natural disasters are increasing in intensity, and having just a basic 3-day supply of food and water will not keep you or your family alive for when it hits the fan. And if you think you can just walk into your local grocer tomorrow and fill your cart up, think again. Just look at the empty store shelves and drained gas pumps in Florida when they were told to prepare for Hurricane Matthew. And they had notice. So how do you guarantee that you'll never find yourself as a victim sitting curled up on a cold, dark floor being forced to listen to your starving kids cry? How can you legally stockpile enough food and water to survive any national disaster? Stop what you're doing and take the next 5 seconds to listen. because I promise you, this is the fully loaded answer to everything you could possibly need in a crisis situation, and I'm about to give it all to you. My name is Matthew Myers, and I have good news. 75% of being prepared for when it hits the fan is simply a matter of going shopping. If you have a few basic supplies on hand, you'll be ahead of 99% of the population. Now, I must warn you, the supplies I'm talking about here are not what you'll find on one of those prepper sites like Happy Prepper. Don't get me wrong, but those sites are mainly for people who only need to survive for a couple of days. I'm talking about having the supplies to survive any catastrophe. When help isn't coming right away, when the cavalry isn't coming to your rescue, you're completely on your own, and if you don't have a plan for the long haul, the tragic scenario we just imagined will become your new reality after your pathetic 3-day food supply runs out. And even if you've purchased prepackaged emergency provisions, you're sitting ducks just like everyone else. That's because those prepackaged prepper food kits are only designed to get you through 1 or maybe 2 weeks tops. They will not keep you and your family fed and alive for months. Now you're probably wondering, what the hell can you do if a standard 3-day supply of emergency food and prepackaged foods are not enough? And how can you properly prepare without worrying the greedy government is going to come knocking down your doors and steal your family's food? I personally spent my life developing the knowledge and skills to survive any disaster for extended periods of time. I've sought the help of top-trained survival experts who have years of battle-tested in the field experience. I'm not talking about lame survival shows like Naked and Afraid either. I'm talking about the guys who will be alive and eating cockroaches when the big one hits. I've even personally studied under a Navy SEAL commander who led covert operations in some of the deadliest places on Earth for over 13 years. You can say he's about as good as it gets when it comes to learning survival from. And what I've done is, I've compiled every food stockpiling tip and advanced training that walks you through everything you need to ensure your family doesn't starve during any kind of emergency situation. Here's just a taste of what you'll discover in your training. Endless pure water. You'll discover how to quickly and easily locate water sources that are right underneath your nose, as well as how you can easily transform any water, including seawater and urine, into a steady stream of pure, fresh drinking water. Navy SEAL's Magic 10. Discover the top 10 best foods to stockpile for any emergency. These top 10 best foods are dirt cheap, and if you put just 3 of these ingredients into your shopping cart each week, soon you'll have all the emergency food your family will ever need to get through the dark months. Stockpile protection. When it hits, the government and looters will be coming for your food. I'll show you how to hide it in plain sight and how to extend the life of your stockpile to ensure it lasts months instead of weeks. Stockpiling on a budget. Look, I know the average person doesn't have thousands of dollars to put towards food. If you follow my concrete plan, you'll quickly and easily build a stockpile of supplies without putting a dent in your bank account. Psychological mind embeds. To prepare you for the survival mindset to get you and your family the absolute best shot at surviving the worst nature and mankind will ever throw at you. Plus, a whole lot more. And remember, I know you must be prepared to survive a disaster without breaking the bank. That is why I'm going to tell you exactly what to get to make sure you and your family is adequately prepared for any emergency, without ever wasting a single red cent on overpriced garbage that you'll never use. And while I hope you never must wipe out these supplies, we can't predict the future, and that is the entire point of why we pay for car insurance and homeowners insurance. Investing a tiny bit now will ensure a massive payoff when it hits the fan. I personally can't tell you when or what is going to happen. What I do know for absolute certainty is that when it hits, it doesn't announce itself. It will be completely unexpected, and if you don't start to prepare today, it may be too late for you and your family. The relentless civil unrest we're already experiencing is cause for concern. Combine that with calamity of the world and Mother Nature, and we're a ticking time bomb. So you must take action. And if you want a giant shortcut, my 9 Meals Away Preparedness Training Program will give you a done-for-you copy and paste shopping list that will instantly save you months of research and thousands of dollars. It's taken me almost 9 years of trial and error and grip of wasted money to get my survival plan to the point of refinement and effectiveness. But even more importantly, this information will give you the priceless, hands-on education I received from top survivalists and Navy SEALs without ever having to enter a war zone and without wasting thousands on unnecessary supplies. Once you've followed my simple life-saving steps and have acquired a few essential supplies, you won't have to worry about what happens. You've done everything you can to ensure your family is free to enjoy life with total peace of mind. After all, no one anticipated the 100-year flood that ravaged West Virginia. Rome didn't expect the massive earthquake that left thousands trapped and hundreds dead. The Japanese didn't plan on a tsunami in 2011. And the coming food shortages and price increases in the United States should be enough to make you want to protect your family from the looming riots. If you don't think people will riot over food, they're rioting over Trump being elected president, not to mention the other violent riots that have been plaguing the world. That's why, as a sensible person, you should prepare in advance for the worst case and most likely scenarios. You understand that should any disaster strike, the health and safety of your family will be threatened due to the lack of essential items like food and water. You know the sheer importance of strategically planning, and you're probably wondering, How much does this training cost? Well, typically, most people pay upwards of $1,000 for just homeowners insurance, and that's just to protect stuff that is replaceable. Compare that to the insurance of saving the lives of you and your family. So I could easily charge $1,000 plus for this life-saving training, which would be an extremely fair trade, considering the devastating cost of not possessing this insight. However, I want as many people as possible to possess this knowledge, because the more of us who have their hands on this life-saving information, the safer we'll all be. Because as of right now, there are only a handful of us who are truly ready. If the majority is caught unprepared, then as people get desperate for food and water, civil unrest and violence will erupt. With that said, if we're all prepared, we can all get back on our feet together without the constant worries of being attacked or killed for our food. So I think you can understand why it's in everyone's best interest to turn the training you discover in 9 Meals Away, a step-by-step guide on how to survive when it hits the fan, into their personal life insurance plan. That's why I'm happy to give you full access to 9 Meals Away for the incredibly low price you see below. And to back up that incredibly low price, I'm also happy to offer you my 60-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee. Take advantage of the training for the next 60 days, and if at any point during that time you don't feel like you've learned an incredible amount of information that can help protect you and your family, not only will I immediately return your tiny fee, I will also let you keep the guide as a gesture of goodwill. You never know if you may need it. How's that for fair? At the end of the day, my priority is to make as many people understand that they are just 9 meals away from total anarchy. And to achieve that, I'm prepared to carry all the risk. That way you have everything to gain, literally, and absolutely nothing to lose by securing your own life insurance plan with 9 Meals Away. In fact, the only way you can possibly lose anything is to ignore the opportunity knocking at your door right now and regretting that decision when disaster strikes. That is not an emotional decision. This is a simple investment to ensure the reward to risk is off the charts. The measly tiny investment you see below will reap in massive rewards in your time of greatest need. Or you can exit this video for the sake of saving a few dollars. But are you prepared to pay the ultimate price? Again, I pray you never must use this information, but I do hope if you ever do need it, that you and your family are readily prepared. So, if you'd like to protect your family, friends, and loved ones from any national disaster, simply click on the link below to claim instant access to the only real life insurance out there.